Welcome to Missing Briefs. I'm Dominic, the founder and owner of Elevate Business Coaching, a Boston-based business coaching and consulting firm that specializes in working with law firms and their lawyers to build, manage, and grow successful practices.
And I'm Bob Furlong. I'm a certified exit planner. What I do is I help law firms create programs to attract and retain their best associates. And this creates a clear path for succession because those people stick around. And then eventually my clients, who tend to be senior partners or owners of practices, they can actually retire younger and healthier.
So Missing Briefs, what's it all about? Well, it's about exploring and telling the compelling stories or briefs of lawyers who've experienced significant challenges and successes in the business of law. What was their gap? What were they missing? What did they wish that they'd known? Well, it's our pleasure today to welcome David Wilkinson. David is a co-founder of Wilkinson and Finkbeiner, LLP, a divorce and family law firm with offices throughout Massachusetts. We've got one in Boston, Needham, Hingham, New Bedford, and as well as that, he's also got a presence in California also. David is a certified family law specialist. He is a fellow in the American Academy of Matrimonial Lawyers and received his board certification by the National Board of Trial Advocacy and Family Trial Law. If that weren't enough, David is also a certified mediator with the Massachusetts Council on Family Mediation, and he's also been recognized by super lawyers as an expert in his crafts. David, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Until I found out I had to be here for this with you two guys, but
we'll try to make it painless.
I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. So, you have an interesting story. You work in a very specific area of the law. So let's kind of jump in the Wayback Machine and go back to the very beginning. When was it in your life that you decided, hey, you know what? I think I want to be an attorney.
That would have been after I graduated or when I was ending my undergraduate degree. So I went to the University of Washington for my undergrad, and I was in the business school there. And I was rounding out my senior year, and I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, except I did know that I wanted to try and get into the sports industry. So I had read a few different books about being a sports agent. And it was something that really drew me to want to potentially end up in that field and to be successful in that field. A lot of those guys start out in law school. So that's what I decided to do.
So that's a little bit different than what you do right now. When was it that you came to the realization that you really wanted to work in family law and mediation and helping people who are often in a very tight, tough spot?
Yeah, so obviously it is a different area of law than sports. When I was in law school, I sent out a professional letter to every single major professional sports team in the United States, and I got back, I think, 2 letters. Both of them said no thanks, and so I had to get another job. And so when I was a second-year law student, I got a job working for this attorney in San Diego who did criminal law but primarily family law. And I got immersed into the practice at that point. It was a very small office with just one attorney and a paralegal. And I learned a lot about family law over the course of my time. And I was there all the way through actually passing the bar. And I was there post-bar for a little bit. So I got a lot of experience in family law. And I got another job after that for about 6 months in an insurance company. And while I was there, my partner, Scott Finkbeiner, and I decided that we were going to open up our firm. So between the two of us, the only practical knowledge that we had was family law because I had some experience over a few years doing that. So we decided to hang our shingle, get out there and start our own firm. And we primarily focused on family law.
Wow, that's great.
So, so you didn't necessarily choose it, right? There was some rejection, but you ended up the opportunities that were in front of you, right? With the firm in San Diego, you learned it. You tried insurance. So So let me ask you, when you and Scott were deciding, right, let's get together, let's club together, let's hang out our own shingle. Thinking back, David, to those early years, right? What were some of the key challenges that you and Scott faced in the early years of basically getting your business started?
Yeah, great question. I could run through all the problems and it would take you about 48 hours to go through all of them, but I don't think we have enough time for that. Um, so there's as any person who's ever started a business knows, it can be very, very challenging. And the biggest initial hurdle was that we had no clients and we had no revenue and we had potentially a lot of expenses because we wanted to have an office and that sort of thing. So we needed to be able to pay our personal bills and be able to get an office space and get a desk and some computers and all that. So we got a little small loan to be able to do that, and then from there it was really a matter of trying to get experience, number one, and number two is that to get clients coming in the door. And there was, for the first at least year, it was very challenging to get people. We did a lot of volunteering. They had a program in San Diego, and they have a similar one here through local bar associations where you can represent clients on a reduced fee rate. So it's good for the clients because it's a much less hourly rate. And it's good for newer attorneys because it's a real case and you have to you're going to be in court and you're going to have to learn what you're supposed to be doing really quickly. So there was a lot of hard times. There was a lot of picking up the phone and making sure there was a dial tone because the phone was never ringing. So there was a lot of that, but eventually, you keep pushing forward, you keep persevering, you get out there, you network. You talk to people, you show your face among other family law attorneys and other attorneys who do other types of law. And then eventually it just starts rolling. And so it took a couple of years, but then it took off from there.
Yeah. So it wasn't easy. That's what I'm hearing, right? You had
Not at
big
all.
dreams, no clients, no revenue, expenses, and a loan, but you were able to get out there, hustle, do some work at a reduced rates, network. And the other thing that you said was, talk to other attorneys as well, whether they're in the family law space or elsewhere, but you're out making connections in the legal community. It sounds like that started like in your early years. This is how you plugged some of this shortfall or gap in those early lean years.
Exactly right.
Yeah. So tell me, I mean, here we are, we're in 2025, and I'm going to steal Bob's mention there of a Wayback Machine. We're going to go back in the time travel machine. Like, if you were back at the start with Scott and you were just starting out today, what would you have done differently?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think there was always more that we could do. There's more networking to do.
Mm-hmm.
There's more getting involved. There's more sitting down and writing, website pages. There's more, grinding out, taking on more cases, things like that. So there's things like that. But in terms of an overall just the way that my career has progressed and the way that our firm has grown, there's not a lot really that I can look back on that I should have really done differently. I spent the first 10 years in California, and so we grew the firm there while I was there, and then moved out to Massachusetts and opened up an office here. And that actually turned out to be ultimately a really good move because now we're in two different markets.
Mm-hmm.
And successfully doing so.
That's terrific. Yeah, it's a hard question. That one, like, what would you have done differently? And your response there was, well, we could always have done more. But the question is, well, did you do enough? And the fact that you're still in business, you've expanded your footprint, you've opened new offices. It's obvious, like a lot of it, you got right, but it didn't all start out necessarily that way, right?
Yeah, yeah, and it's a learning curve. I still don't do everything right. So you have to. It's an ongoing practice. It's a practice of law. It's not, I know everything law.
Well, and the thing is to run the operation that you guys have, two coasts and multiple cities and multiple associates, et cetera, it's the business of running the business often, for a lot of firms never get as big as you do because as you did because they don't figure out the business part. So figuring that out seems to have been a lot of the secret there as well. So, and then the other part of business is meeting the right kind of clients. You probably have an idea of who your right client is. But historically, what's the best way for you to be introduced to clients? How do you usually find them or they find you?
We have a pretty big footprint on the web. So we have a lot of clients who find us through the internet. But aside from that, we also get a lot of referrals. So we get a lot of referrals from past clients. But the largest source of our referrals come from other attorneys. A lot of times it's other attorneys who do different types of law, where their firm doesn't particularly have a family law section in their firm to handle those cases.
Yeah.
But we also get a lot of referrals from other family law attorneys. So they may have a conflict or they may not take cases in a particular geographic area that we're in. A lot of referrals come from opposing counsel, actually. So we've had cases with opposing attorneys, and they know that we do a good job and know what we're doing, and eventually they may send somebody our way. So those coming from other attorneys is really the biggest way that we get a referral. And to find us, it's very easy. We're all over. Anybody can call me anytime. My email's out there. People email me all the time, so it's very easy to get a hold of us.
So this is your opportunity to say what it is, just in case there's somebody that actually doesn't know you or is not connected to you through their network, either an attorney that says, oh, they're doing some looking and they come across the podcast. It's good to give you an opportunity to just speak your truth and share that with us now so that it's forever on there.
Yeah, so the website is massdivorceattorney.net or divorceattorney.net. I better double check that one. My email address is David, David, at WF as in Frank, -lawyers.com. And the best phone number to reach us is 617-795-3611.
Well, it's nice to know that you still take calls. Often when people are in conflict, it's easier to just pick up the phone and talk to a real human being. So that's great.
Yeah.
So David, thanks for spending time with us today. Tell us a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey from those early days to where you're at today. There's still more to go. I know for sure. And for folks that are listening, whether you're an attorney who's not in the family law space, or maybe you're an individual who is a family member, or maybe yourself who thinks you might be needing to talk to somebody about stuff that's going on in your own life, you're free license there to contact David. He's always open to having discussions around that. But David, thanks for spending time with us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity, and nice to see you both.
So you've been listening today to Missing Briefs, where we unveil the untold business stories of lawyers, their triumphs and their trials. If you think you have an interesting story to tell about your own triumphs and trials of owning a law firm, or perhaps somebody in your network that might have an interesting story, just get in touch with us. I'm Dominic Grew.
And I'm Bob Furlong.
Until we meet again.